And we know that y'all in the gang played by them devils to keep y'all operating like that. And most of y'all is bought, sold, slave suckers. And y'all know that your fan base is like that as well.
That's what happens when some of us get 6-figure jobs, 7-figure jobs. When we become 7-figure entrepreneurs.
7-figure slaves.
You ain't nothing but a 7-figure slave.
That has been saying, yo, the shift is coming, the wealth is happening, right? Buy into this, invest in this, here's the strategy, get ready, carry your family, do it now, don't wait, hold, buy, sell, dollar cost average, learn this skill set.
Money has never been the servant, it has always been the master. It's always been the master, and their life has been dictated by the lack of.
Be solopreneurs that build billion-dollar businesses. Solopreneurs. You know what I'm saying? That meant one person is leading this in a billion-dollar company, no board.
Scarcity mindset, kill it. You gotta be I was born broke and it ain't my, you gotta be a killer of all those facts because sometimes the facts don't matter.
There's 19 keys. 19 keys.
I appreciate my pops for teaching me how to be a guy.
From a boy to a man and ultimately back into the natural state of being into a God.
As guys, we're supposed to always move with that higher self. But I have to be able to execute it. Having knowledge is not power, the execution of knowledge is power. Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. Because the only real knowledge you can get is knowledge of self.
The highest level. The highest level is ownership. The highest level is power. The highest level is sovereignty. The highest level is higher consciousness. The highest level is when we own our own culture.
Excellence at a very high level. Not eye level. A high level. Like that.
It's time for a high level conversation.
We're here for another high level conversation. 19 keys and this is a high level conversation. Tap in with the God.
Peace, family. Welcome to another high-level conversations. Today, I'm joined with a returning guest, but he's not returning the same. He's returning with more energy, more knowledge, more capabilities, more freedom, more understanding, more wisdom, bigger community, right? A larger expression for life, more experiences, exposure, education, right? Vigor, better physically, spiritually, mentally, and most definitely financially. We've seen this brother's portfolio. I ain't with the pocket watching. You know what I'm saying? But this brother gives an observation of the portfolio. And the portfolio is beating the recession. The portfolio is beating the market. We see the evolution of what's happening is that there's the proof in the pudding today, because we're not saying just believe me, give me credit for something that you can't see. We're saying here's the debit, here's the transaction. You get to see it in your face every single day, accountability. And this is what we need, because we are in this space and time where we really need you to believe in the revolution. We need you to believe in the possibility. We need you to see it for yourself and to be inspired, so you have no more excuses on why you're not in the game, because the game is right there in front of you, breaking down the rules, showing you the results, showing you the wins, showing you the losses. Showing you that Wall Street looks like us now. So I present to you none other than a man who's on a mission to not only free people, right, from the facade of their living, free people from the, what I call being pissed, poverty-induced stress disorder, right, that has people living in a low vibratory state, because the poverty and the impoverished conditions that you live in is messing you up physically, messing you up spiritually, to where you can't even expand your vision and see clear. So the clarity that's being given by the leadership, my brother, none other than WallStreet Trapper, will guide you out the bondages of your own limited thinking to the expanse of limitless wealth. Tap in.
My brother.
What's up?
Peace to the God.
Good to see you.
Man, it's so, I'm getting El Hajj Malik Shabazz vibes, bro.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite black men of all time. You definitely one of my favorites in the world, man.
I appreciate you.
I love the energy you always induce. You know what I'm saying? I think this should be now a norm how black men like greet one another with that energy. It's always a strong handshake, and it's always an embrace.
Yes, sir.
A love where you can tell there's no jealousy, there's no hate, there's no nothing behind that's not right.
Yes, sir.
So I thank you for that.
I appreciate
Thank you for that genuineness, man.
Man, we
It's good. Glad to be here.
Man, I'm glad you back. Everybody don't get to well, first of all, no disrespect, none of my past guests.
Nah.
When I say that,
okay,
I'm just saying that sometimes I have conversations and there's more to be fleshed out.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had a conversation with the old you and I need to talk to the new you.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Because the conversation ain't the same no more.
Nah.
You know?
Constantly evolving.
Yes, sir.
Always peeling back layers.
Yes, sir.
Always looking at the data from the past to improve.
Yes, sir.
Right? I think that data that we go through on this journey, we don't supposed to just blow past it.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to always go back, look at it. We all have a purpose here. God has given each and every last one of us a program and a system to abide by. And oftentimes we get off the system because we get influenced by the people we supposed to influence. Right? And so when we get influenced by the people we are supposed to influence, the consequences are more severe for the leader who has the instructions than the sheep who are made to follow. Right? And so for me, I don't want to be, and there's nothing against it because some people are made to follow. Right? But I know I've been put in a leadership position. And I was that before I was financially in this situation. And one of the greatest things you can do as a leader and as a man, as a human being, is to always go back and look at the old version of you and ask yourself, how can I correct this? Because I'll be presented with this situation again. May not be in the same form, may not be through the same person, but I'll be presented with that same situation again. How will I handle it next time? So I'm just always trying to evolve, and being around people like you, talking to people like you, that always heightens my awareness because it's always, okay, Trap, we here. And then I can look at my brother and see him evolving and like, nah, bro, we got to keep evolving. And it's because I know the people that follow me, the people who I'm ordered to lead, they watching me. They're watching how I handle situations. They're watching how I grow. They're watching how I talk. They're watching how I perform. And so they're looking at me as the measuring stick at how they're supposed to into these next phases of life, man. And so, man, I'm just proud to be in that state, man. I'm proud to be where I'm at.
You know, that brings up a word for me. Because I had something that I want to talk about, which is the concept or the reality of poverty-induced stress disorder. Right? Where economic strain has health consequences, both physical and mental. And this is scientifically backed, right? Growing up in poverty-induced stressed environments create this disorder on you, right? So you see this correlation of people who have physical and mental issues, and then they can't afford healthcare, so they stay in this cycle, right? So getting out of that, you have to make sure that you're guided by the right people. And you said something that leaders who start following the people that they're supposed to be leading become lost leaders. And in the hoods of America, as we try to get out of our economic situations, right, sometimes we end up following lost leaders, taking us to a promised land nowhere, right? Which then you see these cycles of these people fail, right? And now when they fail, they leave the other people in their wake. And so now people are stuck in this cycle of not knowing where to go, right? So now they have to find a leader who's actually going to take them to the promised land, right? And we always say that, save yourself. Yes, I'm 1,000% with that. But we do have to be self-saviors, and then we have to be leader saviors. Because once we save ourselves, what do you do then next? Go get your comrade. You know what I'm saying? We can't just operate in the world allowing people to be going the wrong direction, right? But to this point, because those are 2 points that I brought up, and I want to get your thought process on, because you talk about financial trauma, right? I want to get your thoughts on lost leadership and financial trauma, but specifically, how does one elevate themselves out of the stress? Matter of fact, I want your personal, I want your personal experience.
Okay.
And the poverty-induced stress disorder, right? When you were pissed, you had to hustle. You know what I'm saying? It puts you in a completely different state. You can't think outside those borders of those conflicts. You're stressed. People got to eat. Then when you get money, man, everybody else looking at your money, right? Then when you get money and you do elevate yourself from a different taste level, something that you brought up to me, not to be long-winded, but not just me, but the world. You talked about how when there's a lottery winner, that lottery winner makes everybody else poor when they win around
100%.
them, because they watch them trying to keep up. But the same thing is happening in social media. You seeing all these people winning, you trying to keep up. It's taking you out your financial means, trying to increase your taste level to prove to the people, hey, I'm just like you. Family, I'm just like you. Friends, I'm just like you. But now you're doing things outside your budget. And now it's causing you stress because you want that full freedom.
So I'll talk about myself for a second. When you growing up in that economic turmoil, right? You have scars that last, that you don't forget. And those scars they create an emotion. Emotion dictates behavior, right? So thoughts prelude emotions, and then emotions then dictate behavior, right? Because you only move on a certain thing based on how you feel about it. If we can agree to that.
Yes, sir.
Right? And so I think about when I was hustling, when I was in the streets, I remember where I felt like I was willing to risk my life for this dollar. And the reason why I was willing to risk my life and my freedom for that dollar, because I had no true value of what I was worth. And when you don't know what you're essentially worth, then you start to maneuver through the world like a financial nomad, right? And as a financial nomad, you'll do whatever is necessary for a dollar. A lot of times going against even morality, any type of morale that you have, because the dollar then supersedes. So one of the things I thought about a minute ago, maybe like a couple of weeks ago, I came up with this saying where I said, the dollar is a wicked master, but it's a faithful servant. The problem with people in those, what did you call it? What did you call it?
Poverty-induced disorder.
The problem with people in that is dealing with that is money has never been the servant. It has always been the master. It's always been the master. And their life has been dictated by the lack of. And so when you always operating through life through that lack, you cannot succeed in life if you always starving. Right? So if I'm always walking through life with my ribs on my stomach, if I'm always walking through life not knowing when I'm gonna get my next meal, then my senses, my vision, my mental constructs, the way I perceive life, what I think living is, all of that is diluted. So the only way we get through that is, I say we go through the 6 phases of wealth that I came up with. It was, we got to go from net negative, which is when we owe more than we own. Net zero, when what we own and what we owe balance out. Working poor is when the money that you make pays the bills, but you aren't one check away and you may have less than $1,000 in savings. The next one is security. It's when you work, they pay the bills, and you have somewhat of a savings, somewhat of a emergency fund. And then you go to the next phase where we can be financially secure. It's where you have, that's 5, where you have a little bit of savings, a little bit of investments, but the investments don't fund your life. That's like financial independence.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pivot to financial freedom. It's when money becomes the surplus. You have money invested. You can live off that. But watch this. The term goes from savings and emergency fund to you having liquidity. Right? And the one thing that wealthy people have is liquidity. They don't look at, I got money saved, or I got an emergency fund. I have liquidity. And liquidity is having access to capital that I can deploy however I want, be it saving, being investing, being emergency. And I think when I came up with that, the concept was kind of similar to that. How do we give our people a roadmap now to get out of that financial trauma? Because I can easily say, yo, you got financial trauma, you got to heal from that. Well, you gave me the diagnosis, you showed me the symptoms, but you didn't give me any medication or any antibiotics. You didn't financially vaccinate me from going back to this situation. Right? So we give them those 6 phases. And now, first phase, how do we go from net zero? Second phase, how do we go to net positive? Third phase, how do we go to security? Fourth phase, and so now we can walk that journey, and it's just like being in a anonymous class, this 12 steps or something like that, right? So we give our people the steps. And so now with each step you take on a pyramid or on a ladder, you see progress in your life. And outside of drug, outside of love, and outside of power, progress is the 3rd most addictive drug in the world.
Progress.
First is love, then it's power, then it's progress. Anybody that starts seeing progress in life, it becomes addictive. Once you start seeing progress, the end result don't even matter, because you like, I'm going to get there. Now I'm more in tune with what does it take for me to get to the end. I'm going to get there regardless. The results I want are there. I just got to evolve. And I think so helping people on that journey from being under those poverty induced, I think that 6 phases of wealth will help a lot of people.
I agree with that 100% because it gives you coordinates.
There you go.
And once you know where you are, now you have a location to say, okay, I need to go south, east,
GPS.
west, north, right? Because you can't know where to go unless you know where you are. Nobody can give you directions and say, okay, where are you? You know what I mean? That's the first thing they go ask. So it's like you have a financial destination, but you have to have your financial coordinates. Right? So, hey, okay, well, listen, I'm in debt. I'm not that skilled, right? Don't really know where to do, what to start. Thank you for the information. Now I got your data. Let me crunch the numbers and figure out what you need to do, right? And so I like that because everybody needs to basically, it's kind of like an ACEs test. You take an ACEs test for trauma, right? And based on how high you score, you know how many things you have to get over because you know how many things stacked against you. Didn't grow up in a 2-parent household, maybe dealt with drugs, have abandonment issues, right? People that have been sexually abused, right? Been to jail. All of these different things increase your likelihood for early death, chronic disease, right? Or ending up imprisonment or suicide. So it's like, for me, one of the most important things for people to do is to have true self-assessment, right? Most people can easily tell you what their astrology sign is, but they don't know the rest of the assessment, right, of who they are. They can't tell you their Myers-Briggs. They can't tell you their intelligence type. They can't tell you, right, the type of thinker they are, whether it's abductive or deductive, right? They can't give you their human design, whether they're a generator or operator, right? They can't tell you whether, you know, they're a visionary or the hunter or they're the networker. All of these are important because what happens is people try to build lives out of their weaknesses because they see the results that somebody has built off their strength. So now you're operating, right, with a handicap. So I'd rather you start with the assessment of who you are.
That's a fact.
Now from there, this is why you have this particular, and which is interesting because we're now in that time where different personality types can rule.
Oh yeah.
And when I think about that, think about if you built the financial system or you built the school system, you're most likely going to build it around a few personality types, right? Maybe it's for the extroverted. The extroverted may have a higher sense of possibility to be successful because, or let's say social media comes about, this person is in front of the camera. So the extroverts is winning. You know what I'm saying? Then it comes a time where the introverted skills right now are winning, right? People that are not that social, they get to sit behind, they may be doing Bitcoin or cryptocurrency rather, or they may be trading stock, don't have to be around nobody. And they just on the computer cracking the codes right now. So we're going through different phases where we're now at that point where it ain't just about one personality type. We have the resources for everybody to build a custom world that's fit to the niche of who you are and where you are. But you have to identify where you are.
You cannot adjust or define. You cannot defeat what you cannot define. You cannot defeat what you cannot define. You can't. How can I, if I never put eyes on it, if I never say where I'm at, if I never say, here's what's wrong with me. I think one of the things that I've been so great at doing, brother, is self-assessing. I love the self-assess. I love to look at what I'm wrong at, because if I can define it, I can build structure around it. A weakness is only a weakness if you allow it to be that. Right? It can't stay. It only can stay a weakness if you allow it to stay a weakness. But you can never identify it as a weakness if you never have the hard conversation with yourself. Right? So if I can't say, like Moses was a murderer, right? God didn't allow that to be Moses' weakness. His weakness was his anger. And the reason why his weakness was his anger was because there was multiple times where Moses got angry with the people. And the last time he got angry with the people, he smite the rock the second time. And God said to him, Moses, I told you, speak to the rock. Now I hit it again. But because you was angry with the people, now my greatness can't be seen. Even though I did all these different things, but now you're doing what everyone else is doing, and I told you to do something different. And so now I'm gonna let the people go to the promised land. You'll still be rewarded because you'll get to come by me, but I gotta put somebody else in front of you. I gotta let somebody else bring them to that promised land.
Right.
And that comes back to us. Like, I love those stories because if we can't identify our weaknesses and then use them as strengths, convert them to strengths, cultivate them as strengths, then someone else is going to be able to bring our people somewhere we were supposed to do.
That's a fact. That's a super fact.
Somebody else going to bring them. And the problem with somebody else bringing them is you don't know the intent behind it. You don't know if they're going to serve. Like, I know how I'm going to serve. So because I know how I'm going to serve, I don't mind the criticism. I can't indulge in the criticism so much, try to justify everything, because now I'm spending more time trying to justify the criticism than I am leading. Right. And now they may let somebody else take my people and lead them somewhere, and they may not doing well like I'm doing. That's the burden of leadership, bro.
Which is interesting about criticism, because sometimes criticism is just other people doing the assessment for you.
So it goes to us saying, criticize me, cool, but if you're criticizing me while I know I'm weak at, I don't have to justify that. I'm gonna just keep working on the weakness.
Right, until it no longer exists.
Till it no longer exists.
And I think today's time, what people have to learn is the way you go about criticizing someone for having a weakness, having an illness, having a failure. Right now, we're in the most toxic time of it, because people say, just cancel them, just get rid of them. That does nothing for society. It doesn't teach people a pathway towards redemption, right? And without that, there's not a worthwhile of being part of a society who just cast you aside once they find out your faults because of hypocrisy. Because if that was somebody in your family, you would know how to have a pathway towards redemption and forgiveness, right? So it's a hypocritical reality that we live in right now because it doesn't allow constructivism. So what you have to do is you can point out a man's faults, but then you have to help build that very man up so he has the will to get over it. Because once you point out somebody's faults, all you could be doing is triggering them spiritually to go through the same cycle over and over, which can keep them in that fault because now you just got them thinking about how terrible they are, stressing them out. So now they're back in this will, right? You pointing somebody up, man, you broke, you ain't got nothing. They like, dang, I am. Now you stressing me out more. I can't think clearly. Now you broke again, right? So instead, you can point it out, but then you know what? Yeah, you broke right now. You ain't got it, but that doesn't mean you can't have it later. That doesn't mean you can't strengthen your mind up to learn so that you can produce the willfulness. Because that's the thing. You don't want to point out a man's faults and make him weaker. You're supposed to point out the faults to make them stronger. So you have to check yourself on your intent of why you even pointing out someone's issues, problems, or faults. Is it to make you feel better? Is it to destroy that man? Or is it to help? And if it's not to help, then you're only there as a hindrance and you're hurting because when you hurt that person, there's a ripple effect of people they hurt. So then you become as bad as them because you didn't set that man on the path of descent. So now he's going to go out there and offend more people. Oh, I ain't nothing, man. Forget everybody then. So now he ain't treating his woman right. Ain't treating his child right. Ain't treating his world right. You know what I mean? So that's why you have to be careful of how you deal with people because the ripple effect of that deal, right, has ramifications.
We have gotten great at fertilizing wounds instead of nurturing them.
Talk to me.
We've gotten so good at fertilizing wounds. We've gotten so great as a society. And when I say we, I like to speak to us as a whole because there's too much individualism going on.
Right.
And that's why early we talked about going back to look at different eras. I love that 60s and 70s era. To me, that was my favorite era because I think that was us showing full potential. Right. And I think that was one of the most feared eras because of unison.
It's funny because I like the 20s and 30s.
You like the 20s and the 30s? All right,
for
cool.
a completely different reason.
Okay. And so, so you like that Renaissance era?
Yes, sir. You know
I'm with you. You like the Renaissance era.
And I want you to, if you can't give me a breakdown, because I was talking to Tiffany about the different types of investors.
Okay.
And she identified me as the psychology, I would be innovator.
Okay.
Right. Which she said is one of the more riskier ones. Right. Versus the type of psychology of a person that operates on the psychology of the people, right? The way people feel and think in their behavior science. But so it's like, if you think about my pathway, I'm always looking at, the bleeding edge technology, the progress of society, where we're headed to. And if I was to build my investment thesis off that, man, I would probably be Bill Gates out here. You know what I'm talking about? Not Bill Gates, terrible person. You know what I'm saying? You all talk about the money, people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They gonna get you for that. They go, Bill Gates.
About the money.
Bill Gates.
When I grew up, people was talking Donald Trump and Bill Gates.
This is true.
Keep it a buck.
So
You know what I'm talking about?
I said this, we gonna get back to it. So I said this before. I said this on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
Before Trump ran for president, he was probably one of the most celebrated people in America. Before he ran for president. By black folks.
That's facts.
Every rapper from that era wanted to be seen with him. They wanted to be at the Trump Towers. Nothing has changed about him since then. He's the same person.
He just ran for president. Well, became president.
And now you get to see him in who he is all the time.
Which is the same type of people. And then this one I want to point to. It's the same type of people those rappers are with right now. They're just not in the political light. So
that's why I said it.
They get to act like, oh, I don't like Trump. No. The very people they're around are just like
They
Trump.
are the same, bro.
So they're just not in the political light. If you had to talk to their friends in their circle about what they believe politically, right? And you could get the truth out of them, you'll be disgusted.
I said this on my show the other day, and it was one that I freestyled, and it was God planting a seed on me. I said the same dollar that was the catalyst of slavery is the same dollar that buys back your freedom. The same dollar that was the catalyst of slavery is the same dollar that buys back your freedom. And the reason why I'm saying that in what we're saying right now is because that dollar, again, going back, closing that loop from the beginning, the same dollar is attached to the same mindset that felt that slavery was okay. That same power that felt that it was okay. The same power that said that you was 3/5 a man. That same mindset, that same ideology, that same philosophy is attached to that dollar that's attached to that. And now we just dealing with their great grandkids. Now we dealing with their grandkids. Now we dealing with their nieces. Now they getting with their nephews. And like I said, all we've done now is got to a time where from the 60s and the 70s, you understood what the freedom you was fighting for. You understood it. Once we got into the 80s, it was apparent. But then there was a pivot that happened. And now what happens, now that we live in the world we in now, the slaves look like they're free. And now people don't understand the difference unless it's in deep poverty. We fail to realize that there's also financial slaves. There's also rich slaves, right? So now we got people saying, yeah, I made $1 million, but you still ain't free. Because now you just went from being a slave from deep poverty to now you're a slave to whatever the vices that you require now that keep you from truly setting people free.
It's the difference between having or being, or let's say being a money slave and having slave money.
I like that.
Money slave, you work for the money.
Yep.
Slave money, the money works for you.
100%.
Right? So you are in the master seat. But there is money that people have that control them.
Yep.
It controls the decisions. It controls their morals. It guides all of who they are, even if it goes against the values of who they are. And that's that space where people say you're selling your soul.
Yeah.
Right? Because you are a money slave instead of have slave money. Right? So that's the part where you become the operator, the steward, where it's like, no, I have money, but I'm a master. So I will use the money until it will do it to do for me, not allow money to control me. And people know the difference between when somebody got slave money and they're a money slave. Because a money slave, you go point money in front of them and say, do this.
And they done.
You know what I'm saying? And it's done. But somebody that got that slave money, boy, chill, that money works for me.
That's when the money is a faithful servant.
Yes.
So I love being in this space. It's kind of like an incubator. It allows me to think. It allows me to process thoughts. And I came up with this dope vision or analogy. And it was, there's a difference between a house slave and a field slave, and it's not what most people think. As you're in the field, everything that the master does disgusts you. And it makes it really, really paramount that you go get your freedom. From the way he talked to you, to the way he wake you up in the morning, to the way he's staring down on you when you picking whatever, to the way he talked to your kids. Everything about him and everything that's related to him angers you, and it makes you push toward freedom. But what happens when and I'm not saying this as no disrespect to my forefathers or foremothers, but I'm saying this because this was the ideology that I had. As you pivot from a field slave to a house slave, your first couple days in the house, you may not want to be there because you feel like you're letting your people down. But after a week or two, you realize the difference between a bed and a cot. You realize the difference in the clothes that you got to wear. You realize that you get to eat scraps. Maybe get to stick your hand in a pot because you know somebody else who work in the house. And so now the disrespect from the master isn't so brutal. So you lose hunger for slavery, for freedom. You lose the thirst for freedom. These conditions then become a bit more acceptable because you aren't under such harsh and oppressive circumstances. And so in most situations, we always saw the house slave try to save the house and the master, or discourage the field slaves from running. And in certain situations, even tell the master that the field slaves was running, because they knew that if a slave got caught running, it's a good chance that everybody can reap consequences behind that. You're gonna kill us all. And I looked at that and I said, damn, this what happens when some of us get 6-figure jobs, 7-figure jobs. We become 7-figure entrepreneurs.
7-figure slaves.
You ain't nothing but a 7-figure slave, because you ain't giving nobody else the roadmap. And if you're not giving nobody the roadmap to become free, if you're not giving nobody that financial North Star, if you're not bringing nobody under that financial underground railroad, then fam, you ain't nothing but a rich slave, because that job and that business has now made you forget the true mission of attaining wealth and money. And money is only a tool. It's not a goal. It's used to leverage life. It's used to help people leverage their life. I look at myself and I'm like, that's why I love the stock market so much. I'm like, yo, we can go get our reparations out the market. And that's what, if you allow them to feed you, you give them permission to starve you come from.
Most of these technologies have proven themselves out past skepticism, right? And even the stock market for Black people, right? The skepticism of, nigga, this shit a scam, or this shit go up and down. I don't know about this. We see brother make millions. We see people do it for the longevity over time. And what it does is, you know, now is the best time to get as many people as possible in it, because they don't longer have no reason for their skepticism to have resilience. You know what I mean? So whether it's blockchain, whether it's crypto, whether it's AI, whether it's stocks, that skepticism is dead. You know what I mean? So even if it goes down now, it don't matter, because we have enough cycles to point to be like, is you stupid? Missed this again? Like, the stock market, that shit go down again, motherfuckers definitely go buy in heavy.
They heavy. Say, bro, listen, what it is the proof of concept has been established to the non-believers, to the skeptics. And now the issue is now, how much am I willing to employ into it? You know what I'm saying? And so for me, you know, it's a great time for me, because I see so many people enthusiastic about freedom. Not just money. I see so many people enthusiastic about freedom. So many people are touching dollars in amounts that they didn't even think were possible for them to make. Because once you get a dose, it's like a drug. Freedom is a drug. So I said this on my show the other day, man. I said, freedom is the most expensive thing you'll ever pay for, because you never stop paying for it. And the minute you miss a payment is the minute the landlord is coming to relinquish it from you. So you can never stop paying for it. You got to pay every day. And that payment comes in different currencies. It may come in some monetary ways. It may come in a sacrificial way. It may come in a mental way. It may come in a information. Like it'll come. Freedom comes in so many various different forms, and a payment in every way is due. Some days, multiple payments are due.
And managing freedom is such a high cost responsibility.
It's capital intensive.
Why some people don't want it. And it's spiritually intensive, because you always have to monitor you. And you have to be accountable for everything, when it's like, can I give that to a managerial class over me? So that's that thing where everybody doesn't want freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that they get it. It comes at the cost of them having to maintain it, protect it, stay there. It's
Steward it.
Yeah, men and women today would rather be children in the womb, protected by their mother and fathers under that household rule and governing, saying, protect me from the world, I'm not ready. Versus, matter of fact, I'm prepared. Let me go out there and hunt with the wolves. You know what I mean? I can go eat, I can forage, I'm gonna come back on my own, I'm good. This generation don't want that.
Because you gotta think about the reason why they don't want it is because there's been a facade or an illusion to various other things that they can escape from. Right? So if you think about different eras, so if you think about, let's just start the era of the 60s. We'll just start there. In that era, it was clear and that you weren't free. Right? And then when you got to the 80s, it was clear that the oppression was still there, but it changed forms. Right? And then as you got into the 2000s into where we are now, the oppressor got real clever at how he started disguising your slavery. Right? Because he could no longer break your teeth out your mouth. Right? He now had to face consequences from his peers because now they wanted to save face. Right? So let's go back. Like in the 60s, you know, you could, or let's go back a little further than that. Like plantations were what built America. Right? You go through the South, these plantations are vivid. You see them. It was okay. When we go to the 60s, it was okay. You sit on the back of the bus, we sit right here. You can't live here. So it was vivid in your face that the dichotomy in freedom.
You couldn't hide from it.
You know what I'm saying? Between freedom and slavery, and you understood who were the freedom, who had the freedom, who had that luxury and who didn't. You saw it. And the people who wore it, they wore it like a mink coat.
Yeah. It's the freedom gap.
Right?
The freedom gap was clear.
Now, it isn't as clear because we get on Instagram right now. You don't know who got freedom or not.
You don't know who free. Acting free, but they still
you don't know who got freedom or not. Right? So now slaves are portraying to be free, and now the people who are really slaves and want to be free, they don't know who to look for.
Oh, we about to have a lot to put on the screen. That is faux freedom. Faux freedom. That's what they got out here today. They putting on that faux freedom. Fake freedom.
You feel me?
You know what I'm saying?
And so the people don't know. Let's get it, man.
This one got the isolate CBD, the black seed oil, the MCT oil, and the lion's mane powder. I think it's too much in here. I think we need to we got to calm this product down. It's too much. Bro, I took this and I was going all day. Ain't nobody got that much work to get done in a day where they need to be taking Supermind. Like, what if you a house mom and all of a sudden you get everything done in one day and you ain't got nothing to do the rest of the week? I took this, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life. I feel like I done got everything done. I was up, right. I ain't gonna lie, I feel like I changed the world 1,000 times on this. I done figured out every single plan. The next thing I need to have is patience, because I done planned everything. I done did everything I could do in a day. I'm serious. Like, I think we put too much in here. We need to cut down the ingredient list, and we need to make this regular mind, because this is like Viagra for the brain. Peace, family. If you want to see us at the highest level, if you want to see us at the top of the podcast charts, this is the way you can help, not just with your views and your attention. First of all, I want to thank you for being here, listening, watching, sharing, But we also need you to comment. This is how support looks like. I need you to comment the best thing you liked about the episode or the worst thing. It's up to you, whatever you would like to share. Then I need you to go and put in them 5 stars. Go to Apple's, go to Spotify's, go everywhere. And I need to see them testimonials. And I need you to go on Apple and Spotify and download and subscribe. The more downloads we get, the better we are able to do in business, and the more we can grow this high level media. Again, I want to thank you all for supporting. Thank you all for tapping in. If you want to book, the booking email is 19keys@19keys.com. Tap in. That type of freedom is paramount because there's too many strings attached to the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you want money with no string.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want money to where I say what I want to say. I get it out the market.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, you don't get to control me, censor me, none of that. It's like, if we had a world where everybody was truly free, everything would be different. If you said what you really meant, if you operate in the way that you wanted to, we don't even have true individualism at all. This is just collective slavery, right? Everybody think they operate in individualism, but you're not being your true self. You're not saying what you really mean. You're still operating under this collective guise of what's acceptable in the terms of what it means to be different, right? And the true reality, right? A lot of people who would actually, if they was going with their true self, they would be in line with more traditional and conservative ideas that are in their mind. But because that you're caught up in this world that's constantly pushing things on you, and you know that you need to assimilate, which means to speak and act like people around you so that you can get along, that you conform to ideas that are not your own and that you truly don't believe in.
I don't want to stop you. One of the amazing things that prison did for me was allow me to bask in isolation. It allowed me to not be around people and be okay with that. And that has been my superpower on this journey. And it's nothing against nobody. I got love for everybody. But even my team be like, dog, I like that you don't gotta be out all the time. I like that you don't gotta be at all the stuff. And I be like, I can't. I'm okay. I understand that we on a mission. And it's gonna require me to be at home sometimes, reading this book for 2-3 days in a row so I can get it how I want it. Understand I need to read this again because he said something that I really didn't understand. And I can't do that if I'm out, even though I don't drink. Just being out, that's a 3 hours. That's a 3-4 hour joint, right? So for me, it's being able to thrive in isolation, because what happens is we'll get in isolation and feel like we're missing something. We'll get in isolation and we don't even like to sit with ourselves.
Right.
A lot of people don't like those thoughts that they have when nothing is going on. This is why during the pandemic, so many people had to go to therapy because they realized, I'm in a relationship that I should have never been in. I'm in a marriage that I should have never been in. The only reason we've been in the marriage so long is because I got a job, she got a job. We're only dealing with each other a couple hours of the day. So we never sit alone with those thoughts and let those thoughts cultivate. Yo, who am I? Like, what makes me love? What makes me hate? What makes me disappointed? What makes me sad? What makes me cry? What motivates me? What makes me happy? What inspires me? We never sit down with those thoughts. And as men, it is extremely important for us to sit down with those thoughts because we have to have the balance.
That's a fact.
We have to have that balance. It's okay for us to be emotionally intelligent. It's okay for us to be vulnerable sometimes. It's the only way that we can be true masters of this vessel that we got. This vessel is supposed to be mastered, but yet so few men master it. Most men, we walk around in this vessel that we've been in this dirt suit, in this mud suit, whatever you want to call it. We walk around with it, waiting to be dictated instead of waiting to lead.
That's a fact.
And because of that, how can we lead a family? How can we be great men? How can we lead great? How can we lead women? How can we lead kids? How can we be financially free? How can we be pioneers? How can we be trailblazers? How can we be Fred Hampton? How can we be Malcolm X? How can we be Dr. Sebi? How can we be those men? We talking about Mandela. We talking about men who are free. Who are free. They asked Mandela, how did you do 27 years? He said, what do you mean? How did I do it? I had two options. Either I can take this 27 years and let it hurt me, or I can take these 27 years and cultivate how to lead my country when I get out. That's a different type of man.
And that also goes towards your intention and your utility with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was funny. Forgot who I was talking to. And I was telling them I'm about to go somewhere. And I'm telling them, like, this is business, right? And they like, no, just have fun. I'm like, no, I gotta go. I'm gonna have 3 contests. There's gonna be 3 opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Like, they talk about just go in there and relax. Just like, no, I'm not doing that whatsoever.
Right.
I'm literally going in there with an idea and some goals. Like, we're gonna get a sponsor here. We're gonna meet this person. We're gonna get 3 of these. So everybody is in the same room, but they not in the same room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They not in the same space. They not in there for the same reasons. And this is why you have to be dangerous, or it's dangerous to just follow people, because you don't know why they putting themselves in that situation. Right? So you like, oh shit, I want to be in that room, but that room is not valuable to you because you don't have enough value in that room yet. You know what I mean? So you step in there and nobody sees you. Right? So that isolation, you need to spend that time alone. So when you step outside, you have value in your presence. But if you disappear and nobody knows, it shows you that there was no value in your presence because your absence is not noted. So the value is saying that, listen, you go through, darkness is a womb for, production. It's where you create yourself, right? I know for a fact that when I spend that time in that research mind, a different mind. It's cold calculating, it's putting together ideas. I'm studying some stuff now that I'm finding super interest in because I be going through information. Then sometimes something hit me like, wait a minute. And this is why I was telling you about the 20s and 30s. I like that period of time because there was so much philosophical introduction to all these different ideas, right? And we in a philosophical recession. People don't posit ideas. People don't really observe outward. There's an expression as the cosmic man. The cosmic man looks for events beyond just the world that he lives in. He connects himself to space and time. Right? He understands that, even in the stock market, they go look at, lunar and solar events and find correlations between data and cycles on how people react during high times of cosmic activity that's going on in the sun and how there's a relation with financial, the financial cycles that we go through as human beings. So when you can look outward, because man gets so stuck, this was happening in my hood, this is who I am, and these events affect me, and that's the only thing I'm paying attention to. Then another man say, this was happening in my world, right? This is what's going on politically, this was going on socially, right? This was going on with the environment, this is the stuff I care about, right? And then another person say, this was going on in the universe. You know what I'm saying? This was going on with the new inventions and the findings about dark matter, and this is what the new solar activity and the planetary alignments. So when you look at men from the 20s and 30s, they wasn't just focused, the minds, the great minds, they wasn't just focused on local activity. They was focused on cosmic activity and our connection to that cosmic activity in the timeline of human history and where we at. So they was depositing higher thinking to the world, right? And so we would design as if the world was going into progress. We don't design a world as if the human mind is progressing. We do have a world where technology is progressing, but the human is eroding. So we would have beautiful buildings and designs, and you would look at the NBA logos were better. Everything was better, but now there are tools and mechanisms designed for control, right? It's not designed so that you can see the world and get enmeshed in its beauty and say, yo, I want to become more than what I am. Because that's not the thing that you aspire a slave for, right? Especially a slave that now had tools to become that inspiration. So you don't ever want that slave to be inspired to become more than what you need them to be so that they can work for you under servitude and to have limited progress until you sell them that it's okay. It's not progress at all. If somebody controls, right, the speed at which you grow, right, then that's not true growth. So because by the time you grow into that next level, right, the world is beyond where you need to be. So you have to always posit that thinking into yourself and get beyond man's activity, get beyond your local activity, get beyond your relationship activity, get beyond just your government, political activity. You have to be tapped into the universal activity and understand the alignment that you need to be as a man and a woman in the cosmos of time.
I don't think that we are seeking spiritual alignment enough. There's so many different factors that we are chasing in today's society. I think it goes back to us talking about the full slavery, or full freedom. FAUX, full freedom. It's a form of fake freedom. And so we're in a time where I feel never before have we been able to be a part of the financial evolution of the world. We miss that part every time. And what I mean is, if we go back to every time America has crashed financially, Black people and working class people have never been part of the reconstruction of it. They have been the sweat behind it, but never the financial pallbearers of it. So if we look at 2000 and we look at 2008, even in 2020, more Black people were looking for PPP loans than they were looking to get in the market. But yet, from 2020 to 2024, the wealthy people have doubled +5 their net worth. And if we go back in history and look at it, every time as it evolved, for every major crisis, there's an abundance of wealth to be attained. What I love about what we are now is, but I'm the same person that feels like money is so spiritual, right? I don't feel like it's just a transactional note. And the reason why I think it's so spiritual is because, one, we are dealing with the residue of the poverty in which we come from on a daily basis. It is the reason why we act a certain way. It's the reason why we do certain things with money. Now, I'm not the person to chastise nobody from what they have, but you can tell a lot about a person by the way they spend their money. You tell a lot about a person by the way they spend their money. If you a trap, what you doing with your money, man? My money tied up in investments.
Yeah.
Right. I may got a couple grand here and there, but my 90% of my net worth is invested. So I don't mind when my apparel every day, all day. It's easier. It's cheaper. It's less thinking I got to do. When we truly take advantage of this opportunity that we have, and I think me and you came up with this on the phone the last time we talked about, and I tell you, every time I pray to God, I pray that I'm present in the opportunity. Right? You got to show up every day. And when you show up every day, you have no other choice but to be present when the opportunity comes, because the one day that does change your life, if you're not present for it, you missed it. And it's just like in the market. In the market, there's about a total of, so there's 188 trading days in the market. Of those, you'll get about 17 days where the market just does something that's parabolic. But if you're sitting on the sideline, you can't partake in.
You speaking because, you know, as they always say, it's time in the market.
Time in the market beats time in the market.
And I mean, look at where we are today. If this is not one of the greatest time for the lessons, right, that everybody should assume and understand. We have been through so many shifts, right, during this decade and these ages. And there has been very loud voices.
Yes.
That has been saying, yo, the shift is coming. The wealth is happening, right? Buy into this, invest in this. Here's the strategy. Get ready, prepare your family. Do it now. Don't wait. Hold, buy, sell, dollar cost average, learn this skill set. Then you got these weak celebrities and entertainers. And I'm trying not to curse because YouTube be on that. But they just so soft and weak. And they be distracting people even further away from their
100%.
wealth because they be spreading the fear, right? Away from people being prepared for the opportunity, right? So the blockchain stuff coming, the AI stuff coming, the stock market, black people lending, they getting into it, the crypto here. But we know that your game is to keep people entertained, not focused.
Yeah.
When people start to get focused, they need you less because they're not seeking pleasure outside progress.
Yeah.
Right? They find pleasure in progress.
Yeah.
But the lack of progress makes people seek pleasure, right? So they can get that hit outside of actually producing something for themselves. And we know that y'all in the gang played by them devils to keep y'all operating like that. And most of y'all is bought, sold, slave suckers. And y'all know that your fan base is like that as well, which is why y'all want to support, appreciate, post, come, and tap in with individuals like Wall Street 19 Keys, because y'all work for the devil. And we trying to get them on their God time. The opportunity's been here, man. The family could have been booming. They must be like, you know what? Wall Street, you got the answers. We locked in with you, man. I got my platform. Bro, anything I need. You know what I'm saying? Come rock with it. Instead, y'all fighting and scrapping over each other allegations. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gossiping and putting rumorville instead of helping prepare the people with the education so they can be prepared for the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now let's talk about the opportunity. Let's talk about the opportunity that exists right now.
Okay.
Right? If we are in this shift where and this is why it's so important to understand the times that we live in.
Yeah.
Man is thinking in the sense beyond. He wants to become immortal, right? He wants to colonize planets. This ain't the first time this happened.
No.
This happened, back in the day as well. This is just another cycle. But we see that man is monopolizing. We are in the time of trillion-dollar companies. They said it's going to be multi-trillion-dollar companies, Trap. They said it's going to be solopreneurs that build billion-dollar businesses. Solopreneurs. You know what I'm saying? That meant one person is leading this in a billion-dollar company, no board. He got robots and humans working for him, utilizing intelligence. And I ain't got to put the artificial in front of it. It's just intelligence, because intelligence is the commodity of the day that people is utilizing right now, which is democratizing the playing field. Because at first intelligence was only a resource that the wealthy could have. I'm going to buy, you go to school, when you get out, I want your intelligence to go work for me. I have an idea. I need you to keep me ahead of the competition. Create barriers so nobody can come rock with us. You work in my R&D department, build me the best technology out. They was always buying human intelligence. So now human intelligence of the average person can use artificial intelligence. They had the knowledge of the financial planners and investors to teach them about the stock market. Nobody came and gave us no goddamn game. Nobody said this is what you need to invest in. So now we got individuals like Trap that represents human intelligence being able to lead people in the right direction. So when we talk about the opportunity of the day, it's all being able to know who to pay attention to so that you can get guided in the right direction so that you can take the opportunity. So where are we at right now in the opportunity zone, right? Or where, first, let's dial it back. Where are we at as, if we talking about the economy financially, right? Where are we at in this cycle?
Let me say this. Not only will a solopreneur become a billionaire, they saying by 2035, we'll see the first trillionaire. We talking about one person. One person. We ain't talking about a family. We saying one man or woman will be worth $1 trillion.
Before you even go there, you sparked the thought. That is saying this. This is because what you have to say, you have to understand what it's saying. It's saying that everything is evolving.
Rapid.
An influencer is not an influencer. That's a governor, right? That's a state, right? A company is not a company. That's a country, right?
I like it.
These are dictators with power.
I like it.
Right? Everything is evolving and morphing to that next phase. A solopreneur is not capno anymore.
I like
right?
it.
He can become a billionaire and trillionaire.
I like it.
Because the playing field has been equalized. So you have to understand what the opportunity is in that.
So I have nothing against no asset class. I think that is a foolish fight.
Mm-hmm. So
Crypto-
you're not like JP Diamond that don't like Bitcoin?
Well, he liked it. He just saying he don't like it so he could go buy more of it at a cheap price. He love it. He been buying it since 2009.
Eating it up.
Been buying it since 2009. One of the top 6 banks that own the most. JP Morgan, Citibank, Morgan Stanley, they own the most.
Yeah, but they'll tell you that they don't.
Of course, it's the game.
Yeah.
So I feel like, one, let's start there. I think that is a foolish conversation. Because if I'm saying one asset class is better than the other asset class, I'm negating the fact that said asset class won't have a winter. And when I negate that this asset class won't have a winter, I'm negating the fact that I'll get the amazing opportunity to buy the asset for the low and triple my net worth. See, a lot of times we think that everything that we want just goes up and we just buy it on a pullback. We don't realize that there's winters involved.
Yeah.
Right? So crypto went through a winter. It was the perfect time for you to buy it. Stocks, when they go through recessions, they're going through winter. Perfect time to buy them. Real estate goes through winters. Perfect time to buy them. Our problem is because we knew the money. And because we knew the money, we don't make the same financial decisions that the people who've been money masters would make.
You know, she just prompted me to hear. You can go along. If you knew the money, you wouldn't be new to money. Come on now.
You feel me? So I think we are at a phenomenal time, man. We made $1 million this year.
Go, what'd you say?
Just in the market.
Where'd you go? You said the decade? Yeah, first of all, we only in February, not March. This might come out in March. The year ain't started. So don't say this year as if we in August. You know what I'm saying?
From January the 1st until now.
So let me put it in the right terms. I made man down 2 months. Stares into the camera. Cause this year, cause somebody might hear this in December.
No.
Somebody might watch this in December. And
So let's say,
okay.
let's say year to date. Which means from January 3rd was when the markets opened until the date of this. We made $1 million in the market.
Okay.
We cashed out $380,000. We still got $700,000 in profit that we letting grow.
So 38%. Hold on. So you took out roughly 30% of profit.
Yeah.
Kept 7.
Yep, kept that. And we letting that work. And so my ultimate goal, and I'm saying this because I want you to ask about the goal, like where we are. I'm keeping that money in the market, but I'm using those profits to put me back in position again. I don't take no money out the stock market. And the reason why I don't take no money out the stock market is because I know me, if I take it out the market, I'm going to spend it. If I keep it in the market, I'm going to invest it, I'm going to trade it. And the reason why is because progress is addictive. This year alone, I had $100,000 a day, $140,000 a day, $160,000 a day, a $242,000 a day, and a $360 a day. All in this year.
And next is the $1 million day.
That's one of my goals. Not just $1 million day, but $1 million trade. That's the time we in.
$1 million trade, which is even better.
That's the time we in.
So let's take you back 2 years ago.
Yep.
2 years ago, what would it be?
My first high level conversation. Stop playing. Stop playing.
I ain't saying that this is a direct result from that. 2 years later.
1.6 million.
1.6 million made. So I'm just saying, man, that's the trap effect mixed with the high level effect.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
1.6 million views, man. Yeah. I appreciate y'all.
So
what you call them, the high levelers?
Yeah, the high levelers, man. You talk about the high levelers, man. You feel me? But all right. So you made $1 million so far in the market.
Playing the options
right?
game.
Utilizing a skill set.
Yeah.
Which I think is phenomenally important because I always tell people, get it out the market, but utilize your skills, not your time. Right? Which is a completely different way of thinking about it. That means that you have a knowledge that nobody can take away.
Never.
That you can always use to make money.
Yes.
Whether you're making it directly or indirectly.
Yes.
Because you have a skill set that you can teach and you can directly apply.
Yeah.
Right? So now you have this ecosystem to where you can make money and help people make money.
Yeah.
The more money you make, the more money you can help other people make. So people are now invested, right, in your growth and your progress.
Yeah.
Because the more Trap grows, the more they grow.
Yes.
Right? And the problem that we had always had was, I just want to put that in.
That was good.
You know what I'm talking about?
He set that up. Ooh, he set that up. Ooh, he set that up.
All right, so how do we get into the options, brother? How do we get into looking at what is the mindset of a person getting into the market? We didn't talk about stocks last conversation.
Yeah.
What's the mindset of a person getting into stocks and they eventually want to start doing option plays?
You gotta be a killer.
You
gotta be a killer. You gotta be a poverty killer. You gotta be a financial trauma killer. You have to be a old, passed down financial habit killer. You gotta be a scarcity mindset killer. You gotta be I was born broke and it ain't my, you gotta be a killer of all those facts because sometimes the facts don't matter. The facts don't matter. Nobody cares that WallStreet Trapper saw his mama get shot when he was 9, 6 times. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that WallStreet Trapper mama went to prison when he was 13. His grandmother passed away when he was 13. He saw his mama OD. Nobody cares. WallStreet Trapper been shot. Nobody cares. WallStreet Trapper been in prison when he was 16 for 10 years. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What can you do for me? I can help you buy back your freedom. How do I do that, Trap? You learn this market. And you learn this market from me. You start off with the buy and hold game because that's the way that taught me. And then you graduate to trading. And then you'll go with trading is to always leverage, scale, grow your account by taking as least less L's as possible. And the way that we trade is a little bit longer. So it's 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 1 year leap options. And this allows, I have a formula that I created that helps me get my price. And as of right now, we're up on 22 trades. Let me rephrase this. We won on 22 of 19 trades.
That's a good number.
19 of 22 trades. And the beauty in that is the fact that I'm not a genius. The beauty in that is I said, how can I win a game if the rules were never designed for me in the first place? So the rules wasn't ever designed for me to play the game. How the hell the rules gonna be designed for me to win the game? So it told me that I can't play by them rules. I gotta go create my own rules. So most people that trade, they use the same rules. And this ain't nothing against nobody because you've been taught this game by somebody and they taught you based off their rules. I came in here with no knowledge and I taught myself. I've never used a trading account, paper money account. Never used any of that. Always my real money. Always a real loss. Always, always, always my real gain. And so basically it's saying that I have a saying, man, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how people bet against America. I'm from America. Let me say this. I have descendants that are from America, but I've been here my whole life. So for me, I'm not going to bet against the country. I'm going to bet with it because I know there's a bunch of greedy MFs that run it. I don't got to be greedy, but I can see they greedy. And if I see they greedy, they going to move like greedy. And when they move like greedy, they're going to make laws to protect themselves. I don't got to build $1 billion business. I just got to invest in one. And we just keep on letting them, we keep rotating. We keep letting this business make us money. And then we don't fall in love with no business.
So you're not a technical investor. You're a fundamental.
Yep. And I do my options the same way. But it's nothing against the technicals, but I don't got time to sit in front of the computer all day. The 2 hours in the morning, I could be sitting in front of the computer. I could be working out. I could be doing emails. I could be handling business. And like I say, right now we up on 22 of 26 trades.
So there's the WallStreet Trapper empire, right? We here in your studio.
Yeah, man, it's the trap.
Wall Street Looks Like Us Now show.
Yeah.
Right? It comes on every single Tuesday.
Yep.
Something you decided to do independently, self-funded, start organically, start from the ground up, giving the game out, right? And at the same time, then you decided to, okay, I'm not only going to teach you the stock game, I'm going to teach you the option game. You got into the option game, trailblazer. You got into the option game on fire. I'm not starting light. We're going to start heavy. And I'm telling everybody I'm getting in so that they can make a way, because either way, I'm going to make some moves.
Yeah.
So you come in the option game and you start killing it. You know what I'm saying? You have some losses, but you have way more wins. Right? And then you decided to go transparent. I'm going to show everybody what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right? So ain't nothing fake about this.
Yeah.
Right? The market, 3 sessions, up, down. What's my separator? Transparency.
Yep.
You get to see, you ain't got to guess, you know what it is, so everything is accounted for.
Yep.
Right? Then you created a community with the Patreon so that those that want to connect with it, right, and actually want to follow along outside of the Trapper University that you have where you're already teaching. See, what I'm looking at is one skill set that built out this whole empire.
What was it?
Right? Started off with just this one single knowledge of understanding the market.
Yep.
And then you was able to build all of these instruments. Then you was able to go on tour. Right?
Went on
the
tour.
time I was doing my tour, WallStreet Trapper outside with it.
Yeah.
In the streets with the people. First of all, I want to get into some of your creative entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. Hey, when you say it like that, I'm like, damn, we did do that. Damn.
It's an empire. It's a journey. I don't think people really appreciate the gravity of the gangster that is required to think outside the box.
Yeah.
To do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The looking at the social media, oh, he did this. That ain't even the magic. The magic is the behind the scenes talking to the team. The magic is putting together the plan.
Yeah.
The magic is deciding what the magic is.
Yeah.
That people feel this magic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's the, man, I got to get it out the mud. I got to be the separator. I got to execute better than everybody else. I got to isolate, incubate, and execute.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So like, what's the WallStreet Trapper way? How the hell you get to be so creative in your execution to build all these products out? Why you ain't just stop at trading stocks for yourself and being happy?
I think, you know, I told you earlier that when you have an assignment, you get chastised more when you veer from it or breach it. I know this game changed my life. I don't care what somebody who just found me today or tomorrow gotta say. This game changed my life. And I know how many people that come from where I come from that have no value on themselves. I'm gonna say something I said in the first interview, that feel like they buried, but they really planted, but they don't have nobody to fertilize. This game fertilized me. This game gave me new life. And I remember me and this dude used to run together. His name was Pocky. He had got a thing called Hood Estates. And I remember he started when I started hanging with him, he used to rent these houses in Orlando all the time. And he used to rent these houses in Fort Lauderdale. And then one day he told me, one day this is going to become normal to you. So you're going to have to introduce other people to it to find joy. Because if not, you'll get bored with it. He was talking about the houses that happened to me with the market. I was doing what I was doing, but it was just me. Because people were so hesitant about it. But I just kept going. And then you start to see one person say, Trap, you changed my life. And then you see another person say, Trap, I quit my job. And you hear another person say, Trap, I made $4,000. Trap, I gave up the streets. Trap, I stopped stripping. Trap. And you see these people say this and you can't help but let the human part of you start to bleed out. And I was like, that's when I got the tattoos and I'm like, yo, everything in me has to become this. And if I do it at a high level, I don't got to worry about what compete with nobody because it's going to be a lane by myself. It's going to be me. And so going outside, doing a tour, going do 6-7 days in the cities and just going in the parks and do it, I felt at home. I remember us being in Baltimore and the dudes in Baltimore said, Trap, you don't even need no security, dog. We got you. You solid out here, dog.
Yeah.
We respect a real one out here. And I was like, yeah, that's what coming from behind the computer. Everybody ain't gonna get that.
Mm-hmm.
And we went in from LA to Houston we was in the hoods, bro. And every hood gave us the same embrace. And that right there, bro, that's what we can't stop. And so now for me, it was how do we just keep creating ways to go touch people? How do we keep creating ways to be a financial juggernaut? Not even much trying to compete with no other podcasts or nothing, but to say, all right, CNBC, that's who y'all talking to. We don't got to talk to them. We going to talk to them. And guess what? It's more broke people in the world. It's more poor people in the world. It's more working poor people in the world than the 1%. So I ain't worrying about your platform, but trust me, y'all going to hear about me. Because the meek shall inherit the earth. The tail shall become the head. The financial slave will become the financial master. And that's us, man. It's just our time to rejoice. It's time for us to be jubilant. It's time for us to be financially rejuvenated. And so that's where I find my power at, right? My charge up, I don't got nothing. I don't got to show off a lot of lifestyle stuff because that ain't really me. My real passion is seeing somebody say, Trap, I made $10,000. Trap, we made $88,000. Trap, from January to 9, I ain't made what you made, but I made $100,000, bro. Like, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, if I can that's why it's easy for me to be transparent. It's easy to be transparent when you ain't trying to hide nothing. It's easy to be transparent when you really want to show people that it's possible. I didn't start with, when I started the options account on the show, I started with $300,000, $400,000, but shit, we done turned it to 2.5 million, right? But guess what else you can see? My percentages, we average 100% per trade. Out of 26 trades together, we only lost on 3 trades. And my people up the same percentages, 400%, 500%, 300%, 200%, 100%. No matter if you got 1 contract or you got 10 contracts, you up that. Man, that's power. Because once a person who has accepted poverty gets a taste of wealth, they can't go back to that. It's like taking the field slave and showing that he ain't got to go be a house nigga. He could be a master. That's a different type of power. And you ain't got to ask the master to let you free because you went and took it. So we in a financial revolt right now. The financial revolution. We the financial revolutionaries. We need higher level conversations. We need a Wall Street Trapper. We need people that's going to be authentic and real to the people and talk to them in a way they can be talked to, but also raise their consciousness. It's needed right now, man. And so that's what keep me going, man. That's I ain't never gonna stop, bro. I told my team, like, if you ain't gonna be with me for 20 years, walk out the door right now. Cause we got 20 years in us.
Well, I know you gotta go.
Yeah, man. Get my baby girl, man.
I want to thank you for your time. If I have more time, I'll ask you about your state of being and how you taking care of yourself physically and all of that as we talk about outside of this. But fatherhood is duty.
I love you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Love you,
I
brother.
appreciate you.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Y'all welcome to the Trap every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time on the Wall Street Look Like Us Network. Man, come over there. Let us know you're a high leveler. We gonna shout you out. We live, baby.
Bless up.
Bless
Appreciate
you, man.
Next time on High Level Conversation.
Yes, sir.
I'm 19 Keys, and this is High Level Conversation.
tap in with the gods.
Number one, this is a great time for me because all the shit that I talk about, it's booming right now.
Yeah.
I get to take off my old videos. I told y'all.
Yeah.
I told y'all.
I
Y'all
told
ain't
y'all.
listen.
Ain't nothing like a good I told y'all.
Ain't nothing like that. I told you so much. I told you.
Ain't nothing like a good I told
God
you. So
damn.
I told y'all that.
Peace, family. It's 19 Keys. This is 19 minutes.
When you focus on creating, the experience that you have of making money is going to be automatically dialed into that.
Not any excuses, because I don't live with excuses. I live with decisions.
We're so fixated on the attention and not where the value actually is.
That the success is not in completion. The success is in the execution.
When I saw that, it turned me up to another level as far as what I'm able to know that I can accomplish.
If they take my deal away right now, I know I'll find another way to get money. Because it's just the hustler in me, but
I feel like I'm always in that mode, bro. No matter what I'm doing, I'm taking something in.
Doesn't mean we have to agree, doesn't mean any of that, but we're sharing truth.
That it's not your responsibility to stop triggering people, it's their responsibility to heal.
The ancestral part is you do for your people.
They can understand rare human beings that build out all of their complexity and live around their gift, skills, and talents.
Peace, family. 19 Keys tapping in. I just shot a high-level conversation right here inside this beautiful black-owned business called Naturally Naturals Apothecary. Now, this business has everything that you need for your wellness needs, and it's right here in the historic landmark area of Leimert Park. The thing is, we want to be able to do partnerships and collaborations, sponsorships with all of the different type of businesses that need that advertisement that people may not know exist, like this beautiful gym right here in the background. So make sure y'all tap in. If you want us to come pull up and you want us to shoot at your shop, make sure you go to 19keys.com or click the link below, right? And sign up so we can tap in and have you on high level. Because the more people that know you exist, the more people that can tap into your services. Peace, family.